Hey everyone, it's Sarah, the elder millennial.
And this is Bill, the infant boomer. Welcome to Strengths on Fire, the podcast for strengths enthusiasts who want to have fun while leveling up.
Get ready for a mix of powerful insights, unexpected stories, and plenty of laughs along the way. Hey Bill, you want to light these strengths on fire?
Sarah, let's light it up! And good morning. Good morning, Sarah.
Good morning, Mr. Dipple. It's a pleasure to be here with you today.
I am so excited for today. Today is going to be unbelievably fun. We are in the beginning of our podcasting, right? We're in the opening throes, I'd say, of our podcasting experience. And today we're going to do something special. Are you excited?
Oh, we are. I am excited. You know, it's not very often I get to sit in the client chair.
Yes. For those of you curious what that means, Sarah and I, in discussing it, had thought it's just not fair that we talk about your strengths and you don't know anything about us, right?
So true. So true. Gotta get the waters warm here. People need to get to know us so they know you're welcome. Come on in. Who are these people talking in my ears?
Right. Why are we here? What are they going to talk about? What does a coaching session look like? If you are a strengths enthusiast, giving Sarah full credit for that particular comment, a strengths enthusiast, this would be a really good dive in to understand if you're going to listen to this podcast, who are the people behind it? Why are they putting it together? Maybe I get to know them a little better.
And just a quick question.
Ooh.
What is a strengths enthusiast? I mean, for those people who have never heard that term anymore, how would you classify those people?
So I would classify it as somebody that is maybe aware of Clifton Strengths, of the Gallup Clifton Strengths system, or you may know it as Strengths Finders. Mm-hmm. Maybe they've taken the test, the assessment. Maybe they have even received a little bit of coaching on it, and they are ultra curious about what it means. They are really thinking, I like the idea of this, but I just don't know where else to go with it. Or maybe they've gone further than that. Maybe they've received some in-depth coaching over time, and they're like, I want more. I want more of that. That would be my take. What do you think?
Yeah, I totally agree. I think it spans the gap to someone who's heard of the assessment and is really intrigued, maybe has taken it and likes it, but wants to know more, to the folks that have been doing it. They know about it. They like it. They're just interested. We're really going to be in here talking to each other, talking to people about how do we get the best out of people. And we really feel like we do that through digging into talent, which is what the Gallup Clifton Strengths Assessment, formerly known as Strengths Finder, is all about. And so we welcome anybody who's been in the strengths seat before.
Yeah. Oh, I love that. We're talking about bringing in other coaches for this podcast. We're talking about bringing in some clients. We're maybe some friends and family that we have assessed and worked with. We're also talking about bringing in some people maybe we don't know that well. So if if you fall under that strengths enthusiast umbrella, right, that Sarah has come up with and we've somewhat clearly defined, she's done a much better job than I have, as usual. If you feel that way, reach out to us via our email. There's going to be some information in the header and footer of this stuff that talks about who we are and where we are easy to get a hold of. So we are always looking for some people that would love to talk about it.
Absolutely. You send us an email. You shoot me a DM on my Instagram at Sarah Coach Collins. I'm sorry. I'm like a shameless plugger.
Do it.
But I love when the folks find me on Instagram. I'll mostly be posting about my children. I will mostly be posting a little bit about how dirty my house is. And I may or may not post about the cold bratwurst that I ate right before we started this conversation.
Oh, we're about to talk about that. Right. So you ate a bratwurst, but so that everybody's aware, we're shooting this particular episode, filming, I guess, recording this particular episode, September-y, it's got a little bite in the air here where I'm at. I'm in Reno, Nevada, right? We got a little fall going on. Football is in full swing. I can't talk about Sarah's previous podcasting experiences, so I won't, right? There's football is in the air. That's all I'll say.
Football is in the air. I mean,
Yeah.
I don't know how it is in Reno. I'm in Lincoln, Nebraska.
Mm-hmm.
We are at the time of year where it is chilly in the morning. You can feel the fall snap. You go outside and you're like, ooh, 60s. But by the afternoon, it is 85, 90 degrees and you're just sweating. It is the season of layers.
I love
You
it.
must layer yourself.
Yes,
I have
I
small
love it.
children. I'm teaching them, hi, in the morning, you need a sweatshirt or a jacket, but you make sure you bring a bag because you got to be able to put that away because by the afternoon, it's going to be hot.
That is absolutely correct. It's going to be hot. It's going to be a time to dress down a bit and make sure that you are feeling it, right? That you're experiencing. Because I sat out back for I'd say an hour yesterday doing work in the backyard early afternoon because the temperature was that perfect, right? That perfect, just relax. However, what I didn't do was eat a cold bratwurst. So I'm just curious, what morning time shooting this in morning for Reno, 10 o'clock in 10 a.m. in Lincoln, Nebraska. Go cold bratwurst. I want to know. Yeah.
Here's some things you need to know about me. I come from a town of 234 people. That is not 1,000, 234, known as a village. No stoplights in our town, one stop sign, okay? So we are country folk. We are blue collar working, just, salt of the earth people, okay?
Nice.
And
yes.
I also wake up at 5 in the morning. So 10 a.m., I'm practically to lunchtime. I've had my breakfast. I've had 2 cups of coffee. I sat outside this morning and looked at the stars because it was still so dark when I got up. So I know we have to record this podcast. I'm feeling a little hungry. I go into my refrigerator. We had brats and hot dogs last night on the grill, right? Great evenings for grilling.
Perfect.
I see that cheddar bratwurst in there. And I think, yep, I'm going to grab that and eat it. Can eat it on the go. No bun, no ketchup. Did not heat it up. Just grabbed it cold.
Wow. So are you a relish girl when they're off the grill?
No.
Wow. So no
Are
relish.
you?
Oh yeah. Yeah.
So
Yeah,
what are your accoutrements to your bratwurst?
I
Just
like it
relish?
all. No, I like it all. I like ketchup, right? I do like mustard, spicy mustard if possible. I do like onions. I love good pickle relish.
Wow.
I'm
Are
a
you going to
fan.
do like the whole chili on top? Are you going to get like a chili dog situation or not?
I have a friend in town that came for my high school reunion this last week. And we both remembered a hot dog place we visit regularly. So I took him there for lunch, still there after all these years. I won't say it was my 40th. So that gives you some context.
It's your 40th hot dog?
Yes. 40th hot dog ever. No, it's my 40th reunion. Right. So
Wow, you really lost me there for a second. I was like, they keep track
Exactly.
of how many hot dogs you buy at this place? Interesting. Interesting.
Exactly.
Wait, you're talking about 40 years out of high school?
that is correct. Yes, that is correct. So my 40th
So
reunion.
you were in high school when you were 0?
Mm,
You look way too young to have been out of high school for 40 years.
that feels probably fair, right? I mean, look at me. Come on, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
And so,
Would people call you a boomer?
oh, wow. We just went from, I just want to know about the brat all the way to my age. Is that did we track to that correctly? So,
Listen, if nothing else, we will get off topic here.
it's going to happen. So, no, I am a Generation X. I know you don't. but
Friends, Bill
but
is going to keep telling us he's Generation X, but I want you to know he falls 1 year into Generation X. So we will think of him as that infant boomer.
yep. I fall there. I feel good about it. I will fight to the end to hold my X. Screw you all
Well,
that don't know it, that say I'm not, right? I don't, but
and I will fight that you are a little baby boomer
infant,
and infant, sorry, geez, excuse me,
infant boomer.
infant boomer. But for the ladies and gentlemen listening, we won't really be fighting because Bill and I both have harmony in our top 10. So
Yes.
the idea of getting in an actual fight will not be
It will not happen. It'll never happen. Although and now we've just half the people have tuned out. No, I want these two in a knife fight. This is going to be
right.
great, right? Yeah.
Right.
Plus, we lead, and we have so much woo together that it's just. And people right now are like, "What is that?"
What does that mean? What does
Harmony
that
and
mean?
woo, right? So, well, before we jump into our coaching session, because I picked on you, and because you brought up my elderly status, part of the reason we wanted to do this podcast together is because we do come generationally at different ideals, gender wise, geography. There's all these G's as to why we're very different. And we're going to bring that to this podcast and talk a lot about how we see and coach people differently, or how the same, and what that looks like. And to give you my elderly status, I got up at 6 a.m. this morning to go take a blood test. So thank you very much.
I hope everything went well with your blood test.
I have no idea. At some point, I'll get some sort of email that says you're alive, I guess.
I can confirm that you are alive. Now, how well you are, I don't know. I'm not that perceptive over space and time video.
Got it.
But you seem well. You got some good color in your face.
Well,
You're
thanks
not
for that.
backing down from making fun of me. So things on this end seem fine.
So knowing Sarah well, mother of 3, correct?
Yes.
So you've done a blood test or 2, right?
Oh,
Do you like a happy, jovial phlebotomist, or would you just prefer just get in there and get the job done and walk away?
I like a competent one. I really don't care what their personality is as long as they get the vein. So a thing to know about me, when I was in college, I found out that you could get paid for giving your plasma away. And so I said, yes, sign me up for that, because I was always looking to find money, working 3 jobs, doing whatever I could. Very self-supported, young, independent woman.
Nice.
So I was in that chair donating the plasma. And by donating, I mean they were giving me money for it.
Right.
And I have a scar, some track marks right here on my left arm from it.
Wait, I have one right there. Just one from today. Yeah.
So whenever I have to give blood, I'm like, right here, there's a nice guide there in my skin of where you can go. And so
nice.
when I've got a newbie who's not very good, I'm like, oh, because I know that arm is just going to bruise right on up. And it hurts when they're in there fishing around for your vein. So yeah, personality, don't care. You can talk to me. You can not talk to me. I can handle it all. But could you just get the thing in the vein?
Yeah. I'm gonna give my guy today full kudos. Renown Health in Reno, right? Went to the lab. Didn't even know it went in. I love
that.
I was bracing for and by the time I looked around, he had 2 of the tubes filled. So
ooh, yes, that's good. That's good.
So, and I got to give Renown credit too. They're a client. I work with some of their staff.
Wow,
so.
Look at that. I was going to say not a sponsor, but kind of.
Almost. They kind of sponsor us. And we keep joking about things we can see. If you're not watching us on YouTube, you will be shortly. We will actually post the videos of these. So a little jump into that. So, all right. Shall we? You want to jump in? And then, by the way, I went to Starbucks immediately after because it was a fasting blood test. So off to a sausage and cheddar sandwich and some chai tea. So,
see, that doesn't sound too much different than my cheddar bratwurst.
It was hot. There's something about
tomato.
I disagree. You know what? Put in the comment section, cold bratwurst, yes or no, everybody. I am very curious what the feelings
Ooh,
are on
I
this.
can't wait to get people just completely divided in the world.
Cold brat, fine, right? And by the way, cold pizza, I'm all in. It's
Oh,
fine,
yeah.
even
Cold
for
pizza,
breakfast. Yeah,
100%.
but cold
Hmm.
brat, I'm a little off on. I don't know.
Listen, I get it sounds gross, but it tastes fine. And in a pinch, listen, I'm a busy woman. I'm
I
a
get it.
mother. I'm a business owner. I'm a
I get it.
podcast host, okay? I need sustenance in this body
Yeah,
so I can get going and get things grooving.
got it.
So
And plus,
sometimes you just do what you got to do, okay?
yeah, and you knew I'd be grilling you, so you had to gear up. You were ready.
That's
So
right. I needed it. I needed
I
it.
love it. I love it. All right, well, let's get started. Let's do a little bit of coaching
Coach
today.
me up. Show me what you got.
We are on with the always delightful Sarah Collins. By the way, the best hair in the coaching business. I just want to point that out.
Oh my God, thank you.
Again, if you're curious, go to YouTube because
I grew it myself.
it's that's actually, that's weird. You don't have self-assurance that high. Anyway, so let's jump into a little bit of coaching for Sarah. Sarah, I am super excited to work on this with you. We've known each other a long time, but I have never had the pleasure of sitting in on a coaching session with you. We've never actually coached tangentially or together or side by side. So let's come in. Can you remind us and our listeners what your top 10 are? And then we'll break those down for the strengths enthusiast that maybe doesn't know what each and every one of those mean.
Absolutely. I come at you with positivity, woo, which is winning others over, communication, harmony, and activator in my top 5. 6 through 10. Now, I don't know them in order, so I do know them, just not in order. So don't correct me if I'm wrong.
Oh, I'm correcting.
Responsibility, individualization, input, arranger, and developer.
And you did them backwards, by the way, which was really good. So
I always tell people the order doesn't matter. So, I give myself a lot of grace.
that's good. Well, you
I
know what?
literally also have a daughter named Grace for the record for that reason. I was like, I have no grace. I need to give myself grace. I'm also not graceful physically. So I have a daughter named Grace. She makes up for it all. She's an angel.
I disagree. I see grace in you all the time. So especially putting up with the old man in the podcast. So all right. So you know what? You jumped right to responsibility, which is actually number 9 for you. That was the first one you mentioned out of the top 5, right? Why do you think, and you want to talk to me a little bit about responsibility, what it means to you in your life and why you brought that one up, you think first in that group? Why is the one that comes to your mind?
Yeah. Well, I'll just preface this. Sorry, I'm going to be the worst client ever because I'm a coach.
Perfect.
I took the assessment in 2011 when I was starting grad school. And obviously back then my life was different. I was 24, had no responsibilities for the most part, and took the assessment. So I feel like today I'm 38, I have 3 children, I own a business, we own a house, I have a husband, this whole operation. While I still feel like my top 5 are very representative of who I am, I know it's the responsibility theme that keeps me accountable as an executing theme, that it is the way I get stuff done. And if I tell someone I'm going to do something, I will bend over backwards to do it. I really hate being late. I always want to be early, and if I'm on time, it gives me anxiety, and if I'm late, I panic. And I think that's that responsibility. If someone is expecting me to be somewhere, then I am going to meet that. So I just feel like that's such a driver for me, and how I can lean on my talents to get things done. Because without that, I'm just sort of like a pool of happiness, but I wouldn't really go anywhere.
Yeah, perfect. Absolutely perfect breakdown of responsibility. And for those enthusiasts in the group, responsibility people generally, if they're going to put their name on it, they're going to do it.
Yep.
Generally speaking, if they say it, it's going to happen. And a big part of using Clifton Strengths correctly is to not only know your own strengths, but to know the strengths of the people around you. So I will tell you that one of the things that I do all the time with Sarah is ensure she has the link for us to get together on podcast early. it will never be 2 minutes past the time we're supposed to start, right? Because I will get blasted. Text, email, are we on? Did I miss something? What's going on? Where are we at? It is that super responsibility stepping in. Thoughts?
Absolutely.
Thoughts on that?
Absolutely. I expect this of other people. I have the responsibility. And for instance, when people are late, it feels disrespectful. It feels like this is not a priority. This isn't important to you. And it hurts me personally too. I think that even plays with that the winning others over. So if
Absolutely.
somebody is not honoring the commitments that we've made, then it also feels like, well, now what's happening? Do you not like me? Do you not respect me? It feels personal, even though I know most of the time it's not.
Right. Right. And I love that you fall into that. Responsibility for me is number 11. So it's, I would call it in my floor. It's one of the tools I can reach down and grab, and it hits me pretty hard. Right.
Yeah.
It definitely is one that I share with you. Like, I get that feeling of, are you disrespecting my time by, I'm respecting your time. I'm here. I sent you this, right? Or I'm here at our meeting at this specific time. And why aren't we doing that together? So we actually share that right at the bottom of that, top 10, right at the beginning of the floor. And I love that. And again, for me, I have found really frequently that when you can share certain themes together, and we share, I think, 5 of our top 10. Did I do that one correctly? We share 5 of them. There she goes. She's counting it.
Yes, we share 5. But if you look at I always tell people, and Bill, I would be interested in what you say. I always tell people they can claim up to 15 as their dominant strengths, depending on where they feel like those hit for them.
Yep.
Your 11, 12, and 13 are in my top 10. So you have responsibility, communication, and positivity. So depending on where you feel like your dominance end, we even share more.
Wow. So I love that you brought it up, right? Do we go to the floor? People will be asking, well, do we, it's top 10 and then we fall off a cliff. And the answer to that, particularly when we're coaching, is no, right? None of us really stop at 10. I run some of my clients through a process where we go through and we continue reading 11, 12, 13, 14. I did that myself when I first assessed. I actually go to 17. And
I love that.
Yeah. And then I fall off brutally. Like, it's a cliff for me. I go to 17, I'm doing good. And then, man, I get right to adaptability and the write up around adaptability. And it does not resonate with me in the slightest. So.
Well, I love that. Can you explain for me and everyone else, when you say the floor, what are you referring to?
Yeah. So we coach quite frequently around your 1 through 5 all the time, right? You're really living in those, right? 1 through 10 most frequently are used. You can absolutely lean in with 6 through 10. They're for you. They're natural and reoccurring. However, they also are very, very good maybe at supporting the 1 through 5. They're pretty dominant for you, but they might be a little bit more in the supporting role. But we look at those as tools on a tool belt, right? I got my screwdriver, I got my hammer, they're right here.
Yeah.
But then we get through 11 through maybe 15. And for me, 11 through 17, those are tools that we look at and they're sitting on the floor around my feet. So I can use them. I can lean in with my positivity. You and I share that within this top. And hopefully for those listeners or people watching, you can spot that positivity right away when you look at Sarah. So I lean in with my positivity. I tend to be pretty positive about it. But those are really mostly for me supporting ends, right? Because I'm a big big developer. But that positivity steps in for me in a different way. Right. It might be about winning others over that positivity leans in. So when I say the floor, for me, it's 11 through 15, 11 through 17, where it's a tool. If I want to use it, I got to reach down a little bit. I got to go grab it. And then once we get past 17, It's just not a tool that I'm going to have to go into the garage and dig for it.
Well,
So
actually, let me continue your metaphor because I've
go.
never heard the floor thing before. So I
Oh,
also say 1 through 10 are in the tool belt.
yeah.
I love the floor thing with 11 through
Hmm.
15.
Yeah.
I always say the middle, wherever you claim that, right? So for you, like 18 to probably 20
Hmm.
something.
Yeah.
Those are in the toolbox. So they're over there. They're harder to get to. It's not as easy. It's not as quick. But if you had to absolutely access that, you could get access to it.
Hmm.
And then I say the bottom 5, 6, 7, whatever you feel like is really a stretch. Those are
Yes.
in the tool shed and it's locked and there's probably spider webs around it and you don't know where the key is.
I
And so
like it.
instead of breaking into the tool shed to try to get one of those strengths, you're better off to go to your neighbor's house and borrow one of those tools,
Oh, see, that's
i.e.,
good.
the bridge to teamwork.
That's good. I might even, so I've used the go to a neighbor, right? But you don't know if your neighbor's home. You don't know, you're not positive if your neighbor's willing to loan you some tools. I would also say there are times where, for me, way down in the bottom, there's competition, right?
Mm-hmm.
Way down there in
Yep.
significance. And context is the very bottom for me.
Yeah.
And when I'm looking for that, it might be better for me if I'm thinking context, which is the ability to really use the past to define what I'm doing today, right? Or look at the
Yeah.
past and be able to make relevant ideals around the past so that it communicates what I need to do.
Mm-hmm.
Instead of going to my neighbor, I might step in and say, I need to up my restorative today. I might need
Yeah.
to up my developer. I might use a totally different tool to get the job done because
Absolutely.
I'm not positive if my neighbor's home or likes me anymore. So
And I love that you said that. That's how I coach people too. I'll say, let's look at what is the actual outcome you want to get, right? Because people get hung up. It's the human nature to get worried about the things at the bottom of your list. We're always been
yeah,
taught to practice makes perfect and you can do anything you set your mind to. And the Clifton Strengths philosophy is essentially like, that's not true. You actually can't do anything, and practice doesn't make perfect. If you're practicing those things that are not in your talent zone, the best you'll ever become is mediocre. So if
perfect.
that's good enough for you, then like by all means, but why waste your time? Instead, spend your time on your talents so you can actually achieve excellence, which I think most of us would rather do. So when someone comes to me, like you were just saying with your context, and says, well, how do I do this? I need to be able to do this. I'll say, what's the outcome? What is the outcome you feel like you need? And then how can we go to your top 10 to use your strengths and talents to get the same outcome? So, what
Oh,
you were saying about your restorative, I love that. Exactly right.
yeah.
Find a tool that you have to get the same outcome in the world that you're looking for.
Yeah, I'm going to work hard to find that. And I love that everyone listening today, they're getting a joint coaching session right out of the gate, right?
I told you I'm going to be a terrible client.
No, you're a
Listen,
great
I
client.
can't shut my mouth.
Look, here's the great thing. You're getting double coaching today, right? And Sarah's not doing anything that coaches don't do normally, right? We're always coaching ourselves. We rely
Mhm.
on each other. I have other coaches I deal with, and quite often I'm doing a lot of the self-discovery that you're watching Sarah or listening to Sarah do this morning. So I love that. I love that you're there. You're doing it. It doesn't make you a bad client in the slightest. I think it makes you worthy of the best title of hair and coaching ability I know. So I love
Thank
it.
you. Thank you.
So I'm curious, can you tell me previous testing, right? So we get the questions a lot around Clifton Strengths. Why Clifton? Why are you using it? What is the benefit? More often than not, I love to ask people, and I guess if you're listening to this and you're an upcoming client, you're going to know all my secrets. So that's great. I like to ask people, tell me about your previous testing history, Myers-Briggs, DISC, Anagram, Colby, all of the ones that we know that are out there. Have you gone through any of those? Have those affected you?
Yeah, I think the first one I probably ever did was Myers-Briggs, and I
Mm-hmm.
can never remember what my Myers-Briggs is. I just remember an online assessment told me my Myers-Briggs was the same as Mary Poppins. So anytime someone actually wants to know my Myers-Briggs, I have to be like, what is Mary Poppins Myers-Briggs?
I love that you're the same as a fictional character. This is great.
I know I'm an
Oh,
E.
oh,
Um,
oh no, really
so,
extroverted? No,
oh,
I
I
find
know,
that
shocking,
stunning.
shocking.
Yes, yes.
Uh, I also do Enneagram, and I have some coach friends who are Enneagram coaches. So if
Hmm.
anyone out here is looking to do more with Enneagram, hit me up. I've got some great referrals. So I've done coaching with a few of my friends that do Enneagram, and I am a 3. And I would love to actually talk about this because I do not have achiever in my top 10 for Clifton Strengths. And
Correct.
I do not identify with the Clifton Strengths theme achiever,
Correct.
but I am a
It's
3 on the
20.
Enneagram,
It's 22 for you, just so you know.
22, right?
Yes. All right.
And but on the Enneagram, the 3 is the achiever. And so I think it's really interesting because Enneagram is, as far as I know, I'm not a coach in the Enneagram, but it is really looking at like your motivation. And a lot
Yeah.
of that comes from childhood. And Clifton Strengths is looking at the talent that you're born with.
Yeah.
And so I like to do good work. Again, this is why I think I like that responsibility theme so much because it pushes me to achieve. But it's because, and this is part of the woo and all of those relationship building and influencing themes I have, I do want people to notice the work I did. And if
Perfect.
you know Enneagram and 3s, I want the recognition. I want people to say, this is a good job. She did a good job. Now, let me say, this is embarrassing for me to admit. I do not want to go out here and tell the world, yes, I would like everyone to notice me and shower me with compliments, but I have done enough work to know that that is true.
Well, I mean, it's a great point, right? One of the Q12 questions is, have you been acknowledged? And Q12 is Gallup's research into employee engagement, right? And one of the questions is always based around, have you been acknowledged for something that you've done positively in the last 7 days, right?
Right.
And it's one of the questions I talk about a lot in coaching because we do get asked about it. And I'll even bring it up frequently because it's a pretty easy metric to hit, but at the same time, it means so much to everybody. And many of the people I talk to are like, well, I don't need to be patted on the back once a week. I'm just doing my job and it's great. And if you really break it down for them and they start talking about what would it mean to you if you got an email that said, hey, I saw you doing that. And man, that rocked. Thanks for doing that. Forget the acknowledgement, just the fact that you did something correct. And maybe that makes your job a little more fluid, a little more knowing where you're going. And by the way, yeah, you got acknowledged, right? There is
Yeah.
an acknowledgement there. I'm like you. I'll tell you straight up, when I have a client come up and go, this meant the world to me, right? I'm all in.
Yeah,
I
lit
love it.
up.
Yeah.
Well, and to echo what you said, what I say to my clients is recognition is water, not champagne. We need recognition every day, it needs to be often, frequent. It is our lifeblood. We do not need to save recognition for just the big, amazing, splashy things, right? And this flips some people on the head because some people really feel like recognition should only be doled out when something fabulous, excellent has happened. But if we look at the psychology of humans, if we are constantly berating people and getting on them for what they do wrong, you didn't do this good enough, you need to improve this, you got to get better. Yeah, for a little bit you can rise to the occasion, but after a while it beats you down. Your morale goes down. You're not getting better under constant just nitpicking and negative seeking. What makes people better is when we lift them up through saying, I see you. And that's why I love Clifton Strengths, is because it gives us language to recognize what people do well. Because inevitably, a leader will say to me, Sarah, this is great in theory, but I have an employee and they're not meeting expectations. And you want me to recognize them for what? And I say, you can find something, look at their assessment, see what their strengths are. So, yes, maybe they're not meeting their job expectations, but you notice that they have high communication and they were able to show up to the meeting yesterday and articulate the project really well. You sending them an email saying, hey, your communication was really on point in that meeting,
Hmm.
that is recognition.
Absolutely
It's
perfect.
noticing that. And what I love is Clifton Strengths can turn criticism into recognition
Yeah.
because instead of, if we flip this on the head, where you could say, if you take the communication theme, which is often getting what's in here out, which I also have, as you may notice,
Hmm.
if you said to someone, Bill, in that meeting, you were just talking nonstop, seriously, like you need to pull it back, that's criticism. But if I know you have communication, which you do at 12,
Yes.
and I said to you, hey, yesterday in that meeting, that communication was turned up a little high. I would love to see you turn it back and lean more into your restorative next time. That is recognition. So
Right.
we just took a potential criticism and we flipped it on its head to recognize someone for the talents they had while still giving them feedback on how to get better.
Absolutely. Yeah. And we love coaching around the concept of having discussions around strengths. What's a great discussion you can have? How do you perform recognition? How do you step in and have a discussion around what you're doing well? And exactly what you just said, it is a wonderful tool for having hard discussions.
Yeah.
Hey, I noticed X, right? How can I make this better for you? I noticed that your focus was ultra intense and you ignored or something fell off the plate yesterday. How can I get us to understand when focus is really high for you and you're hitting on that level? And I need to bring up something else. I need to bring up your arranger, which is number 3, or another of your strengths at that moment, so that that doesn't fall off the plate again and we hit it, right? We make sure we're
Mm-hmm.
hitting on those levels. Help me make sure that I understand when I need to ask about another strength and pushing it forward with you, because then we've taken a defensive conversation into a positive, I want to help, I want to work with your strengths conversation. So, and
Absolutely.
I love that you're hitting that. And so right now, for those listeners, I should point out, Sarah has developer number 6, right? Developer people, it's very high for me too. I'm a
Yes, it
developer.
is. Number
Uh,
two.
yes. And developer people, we're strengths coaches, fuel on helping other people get better at what they do. We
Yeah.
really love seeing other people get better and better and better. And we just heard a 5-minute breakdown of why Sarah wants everyone to get better and better. Sarah, talk about developer and how it affects your coaching.
Yeah, I think it's just what you said. Developers a relationship building theme. I think of it as the coach, the mentor, the teacher. You don't actually have to be that job title, but you see potential in people and you get excited to bring that out. And I think that's why I love this work. I also have high individualization, which is noticing the uniqueness in people, thriving on that. And so I think they play together. So, if I am leading a workshop, which is what we do a lot in this work, then yeah, I can pull out my woo, right? I have the strengths that can show up. My activator loves to be on the spot. But when I'm sitting down for a one on one coaching, I am tapping more into that individualization, that developer. I'm listening to be like, what do I hear? What is it about you? I really care about people's stories because I feel like that tells me everything I need to know about a person. But I have to make them comfortable enough to tell me their story. I want to know your story about where have you been? I want to know the story you're telling yourself about where you're going. I want to know what's happening day to day with the work you're doing and how you're feeling. And in my coaching, this is, I don't know if this is a good thing or a bad thing, but a lot of people get very emotional and they really open up quick. I mean, they can be people that I just met, and within an hour, they're telling me some of the most personal things for them. And it brings up a lot of emotion. And I think that's because that developer in me, that individualization, I am so curious in knowing who people are, like truly inside, because then I feel like if I know that, I can pull out the good because I have that positivity. So I'm always looking for, how do we make this better? How do we get this better? How do we help?
Excellent. And as Sarah mentioned, individualization is high for her. It's number one for me.
Mhm.
Again, you and I, is it any mystery you and I bonded when we started talking about co-hosting a podcast, and then a common term was being bantered around the room, and you and I kept looking at each other when the term would be bantered in this large group of 70 or so coaches, and we would just giggle, right? Because
Mhm.
individualization for us means we know what it means to a lot of people and what it means to us, and the inside joke was just too much fun to have. So I absolutely love that you're leaning in with your developer. I know you well enough to know you have to know a person, right? But from a coaching
Mhm.
side, I have to know, we all as coaches have to know them at some level. I agree with that. You really want to dive in and get to know them. Like you've got to get all the way down, right? As far as you can get. That individualization fuels that developer really
Yep.
hits that. Harmony is kicking in, which is another relationship theme, right? Having that harmony side. So while all of those fuel and get you moving forward and getting you to really dive in and understand people, and I love that you do that. Talk to me about a dumpster fire. Talk to me about a strengths on fire that has turned into a dumpster fire for you. And I'm not going to pick one for you. I think it's important you tell me which theme it is and where it got in your way.
Yeah, I think the two themes that get my way the most, that cause the biggest dumpster fire in my life, are communication and activator. Both influencing themes. These are, I think of, when we think of our strengths, whether it's your top five or somewhere in your top 10, there are some that are just so core to us that we cannot turn off even if we wanted to. You read the description and you're like, yep, that's exactly me.
I got
Some of
that's
them
me.
you might have
Done.
to be like, wait, what is this one? How does it show up? Some of them you're just like, yep, 100%. Communication and activator for me are in my blood. I cannot deny them. And so I can word vomit that communication. I just like, my husband jokes that I have a word quota I have to meet every day. So if we go to bed at night and I'm like gabbing at him, he'll look at me and be like, did you not hit your word quota today?
Love it. I love it. That's so good. The word
So
quota hasn't been hit. Your watch didn't vibrate that you hit your goal. Nice.
exactly. And
Yeah.
so sometimes I will leave a social situation. I've gotten a lot better at this because I'm more in tune, but it still happens. And I'll be like, oh my God, did I talk the whole time? Because especially in our work we do, I'm constantly asking other people about
Hmm.
them and learning about them, but I love to talk.
Yeah.
So if I'm with my girlfriends, sometimes I have to be like, Sarah, it is rude to talk the entire. So I
Take it back.
feel I can
Take it back.
feel this like social awareness of like, okay, chill back.
Chill.
And then the same with activator. I love to just be like, yeah, let's do this. Let's go. Let's do it. And my activator gets me into trouble with work because if I'm with a group of people and they say, we should start this thing, we should start a podcast, I'm like, yeah, let's go. And then my responsibility is sitting in the back going, excuse me, I don't think you'll have time to commit to this, ma'am. So I have had to really work on not letting activator start my life on fire in a
Yeah.
bad way, turn my
Yeah.
life into a dumpster fire because I've now overcommitted. And in the past, I used to overcommit to doing a ton of free things. Hey, do you think you could come do this workshop totally for free? I'll be like, oh my God, that sounds so fun. Absolutely.
I'm so excited. Yes, I want to do that. Right. I love the activator responsibility dichotomy because I was going to ask you about it. I'm like, how often they're high for me? I'm an
Yeah.
activator too. So how often are we as activators saying, hey, this is a great idea? And then because when we say it, we're going to do it. Does it lead towards burnout? Does it lead towards
Mhm.
disappointment? I didn't complete it, right? How does that affect? So the fact that you're linking in, your communication and activator as the ones that are dumpster fiery, I would absolutely get it. And for those of you that are curious on a coaching session, right, most of the time the coach is the one that needs to take the back seat, right? Our job is to ask the question. You want the coachee to be going over all of this and talking about it. We are just so fortunate today because Sarah not only is a great person to talk to about coaching herself, but also is very adept at doing it. So we're getting this from a couple of different angles. And I love that.
I was going to say, is this you telling me my communication is running it out in front of us?
I'm saying your communication is on point and engaging, and your woo is all over it. And, I often have to ask in my coaching world because, again, with high developer and positivity and individualization and woo, I want to talk. Right? I want to solve the problem. I want to dive right in. And in the next episode, if you're curious about my life, Sarah's going to coach me. So we'll hear a whole different take on this. But if you're, quite often for me, the acronym is WAIT, WAIT. Why am I talking? Right? I need to ask a question and then think, wait. Oh, no. I know how to, that fits in with wait. Right? Why am I talking? And I have to, in the coaching world, really spin that in my brain and make sure I'm following that advice. So I love that. I love the ones you're bringing in. I love that they are where you're at. So, so we've hit on your strengths. We've hit on a dumpster fire component today. We've talked about a couple of them, developer being one of them, right? We were curious about how your activator comes in. You've hit on your communication dumpster fire. I don't think anyone listening or watching this has missed the positivity or woo in any way, shape, or form. So I absolutely adore and love working with Sarah. I love being on a podcast with Sarah. I love talking about getting to the next stages with Sarah and building a podcast. When we built this out, the two of us went, yes, this is a great idea. Our activators kicked in. And I think it's fortunate, I know for us, hopefully for the listeners as well, that our responsibility didn't crush us to say, why are we doing this? We don't have the time. So thoughts? Anything you want to close on? We're gonna wrap this up so we can get back to our day. What do you think?
I think it was great. Thanks for coaching me and letting me just spew out everything in my brain about Clifton Strengths. You can see my positivity loves the positive psychology of this. I just love focusing on what is right with people. I especially love focusing on what's right with me.
As a coach, I like focusing on what's right with other people too. So this is a wonderful relationship, right? Watching you blow on it. I love it. And there is so much right with Sarah. It is just fun to work with. So I love it. All right, Sarah, we're gonna bounce out of here. Any final thoughts? Anything else we wanna click on before we get out of here?
Like and subscribe this podcast, my friends. We are new to doing this, and your positive reinforcement for this will fuel us clearly to keep going. So, give us some social affirmation so we keep going. If you like this, please tell us. If you don't, please keep those thoughts to yourself.
Put it in the comments. Too much positivity. I can't take this in the morning.
I can't take it. Well, you can listen to it in the afternoon. Okay.
And I think on a follow-up, we'll be talking about show notes and what the end vote was on cold brats. We will have it.
Listen, don't hate it till you try it. And if you tried it and you hated it, don't tell me.
I'm probably going to get more hates for pickle relish. To be honest, I think that's...
Oh, no. People love pickle relish.
I don't know. It seems to be divisive. So, Sarah, I love working with you.
I love working with you, Bill.
We'll jump in. We'll have another one here coming up. Sarah's going to coach me. So if you're curious how the infant boomers in our world see the world, jump into that one. And we will talk to you soon.
All right. See you, everyone, on the flip side.
Thank you for joining us on Strengths on Fire. If today's conversation sparked something in you, be sure to subscribe, share, and leave a review. We're here every other week, bringing you fresh insights to fuel your growth and ignite your potential. Remember, your strengths are powerful, so let's keep the fire burning.
And if you're looking to transform your organization through strengths-based strategies and coaching, reach out to Sarah Collins, founder of Collins Collective, or Bill Dipple, founder of Bill Dipple Strengths Coaching. Connect with Sarah at wearecollinsco.com, follow her on Instagram at SarahCoachCollins, or email her at sarah@wearecollinsco.com, SARAH. You can reach Bill at BillDipple.com, Bill, DIPPEL.com, or on Instagram at Bill Dipple Coach, or email him at bill@BillDipple.com.
Please note the opinions, views, and interpretations of Clifton Strengths expressed in this podcast are solely those of the hosts and the guests. They have not been approved, sanctioned, or endorsed by Gallup in any way.
Until next time, keep your strengths on fire and let's light up what's possible together. Bye, Bill.
Bye, Sarah.